Hello, my name is John Peterson, and this is a special presentation of Stage Explorations, and we are here talking about theater and P3 Theater Company's production of MGM in Concert. I am here with good friends Christy Mauro-Cohen and Christopher Showerman.
Woo!
How are you, kids?
Excellent.
Excellent.
How are you, John?
I'm great. Thank you so much for asking. See, he asked. He's the polite one.
Oh.
Yes. So I've got some questions for you guys. We're going to kind of let the public know a little bit about who we are and why they need to come see our show. What do you
my.
say?
Let's do it.
All right.
All right.
Christy, we'll start with you. Yes. When did you first fall in love with the theater?
When I came out of the womb. It's kind of true.
Yeah?
I said I came out with top hat and cane, singing and dancing. Honestly, probably 3-4 years old. My father introduced me to it. So I was singing songs that young.
You were just a little tyke in tap shoes.
Mm-hmm.
You were actually performing when you were really young, right?
Yes, I was.
How old were you at your very first performance?
5 years old, daughter of Rosie O'Grady, tap dancing with Dad. He was right with the tap dancing. And that's all I did in the show. They brought me out to do that. Little Shirley Temple moment.
Oh,
I love
I
Yeah.
bet
that.
you were cute.
Adorable.
Thank you.
Did they curl your hair and everything?
Yes. Oh, God, Mom had me in the patent leather shoes with the little socks with the little lace on it. Just exactly like Shirley Temple. Okay, what about you guys? When did you start? When did you start?
How about you, Chris? When did you first fall in love with the theater?
Well, my first theatrical experience was I was the biggest billy goat in the Three Billy Goats Gruff in kindergarten.
I love that.
So
How tall were you in kindergarten?
I was kindergarten size.
Okay.
I was a late bloomer, a
Gotcha.
very late bloomer. So, yeah, I hadn't gotten there in kindergarten yet. So I was still a small, biggest billy goat. But people were clapping for me and laughing at the things I did up there, and I was like, I'm not sure what I'm doing, but I want more of this, whatever that is.
Nice.
Yeah.
When did it turn from that I want more of this to I have to have this? This is what I want to do to be into theater.
Yeah, I was my first theatrical production was not even with my school. It was with my mom, who was teaching in the public schools as well, but in a different school. So I did some of the Christmas shows, her Christmas shows, with her school, and that was my first taste where I was like, oh, now I kind of know what I'm doing, and I want to do more of this. This was great. Yeah.
Same age or a little bit older at that point?
I was older. I was older at that point, and I was older than her students. So, like, she would bring me in to play Santa Claus when everybody else was playing elves, right?
Oh,
Stuff
cool.
like that. Yeah.
Very cool. How about you, Christy? When did you know that you were going to graduate from Shirley Temple to being the diva you are today?
Thank you. Well, I went from doing that little tap number as I got older, doing more in the show, and then being featured, in a sense, in the show because my voice grew and everything was working out. And we were doing shows every weekend, all with the whole family. And it seemed it wasn't even, it chose me. Does that make sense? It chose
Yes,
me.
yes.
It's like, this is the way, this is what we do. This is what I do. And I never thought to do anything else.
Well, you grew up in a musical
In a
family.
musical theater
so
family.
You really didn't know
Yeah.
anything else. It was like
I
that
didn't
was the world.
That's what I did in lieu of proms and school functions and everything. It came first. We go and we perform as a family. And it was a lot of fun. I wouldn't trade that for the world.
No.
No, what an experience that was.
What
Yeah.
an amazing family, too. I mean, most people, their parents are like, you're going to be a doctor, and I'm going to pound it out of you. And you're like, oh, no, you're not going to medical school. You are going on stage, young lady.
Absolutely. My dad makes a joke. I don't know if you've heard it
No.
yet. Where when he's on stage with me, he always says, "My son-in-law is playing piano for us today," and I wouldn't let him marry my daughter until he auditioned for me. I needed a musician in the
heard
family.
that.
He says it all
great.
the time, so it is that way.
Right.
He wanted all performers.
Right.
Yes, that's it. It is unusual. It was fun. It's fun.
Good times, good times. I've seen the old pictures, and just I love seeing your family pictures. It's so reminiscent of the old school variety show.
Yeah.
Right.
Type, with the families like the Mandrell sisters, and I mean, just
That was us. Donnie and
times.
Marie, the whole thing.
John, how did you get into this?
Yes.
I was a late bloomer. I did not. So going into high school, the high school I lived next to in San Diego was very well known for its gangs and its drugs, and my parents didn't want me to go there. I didn't want to go there. So there was a performing arts high school across town in Chula Vista called Chula Vista High School for the Performing Arts, and I had played piano a little bit. I took piano and organ lessons from our church organist, and so I went into that school as a piano major. And it wasn't even until my senior year that I knew I could sing. And I really didn't sing very well. I've got proof of that. But the summer between my junior and senior year of high school, I auditioned for a production of Sound of Music at Christian Community Theater. I sang The Way We Were by Barbra Streisand, because that's what you sing at musical theater auditions. And I got cast as a Nazi. And
I want to hear that rendition of The Way We Were. You do it very, very Nazi-esque.
They're gone. Those were my 2 lines in the show. And then I just kind of grew from there. I auditioned my senior year to be in their, it's called The Main Attraction. They were like, if you've ever seen the TV show Glee, it was very much like the Glee Club and that. And then I was part of their madrigal choir, the New Renaissance. And even then, I still started college as a criminology major. I didn't know that I wanted to do it until I auditioned for the choir at UC Irvine, and then got cast as King Henry in their madrigal dinner. Then they convinced me to join the music department, and then I did professional opera as a fluke because the AGMA union went on strike and they needed male singers, so I auditioned and got in, and then just a beast was created.
And do you still dabble in criminology?
Gee, that's what I'm glad you returned to that. I wanted to know more.
That was a strong right. Well, there was the joke back in the day was that I could go stop in the name of the law. Yeah. But I don't dabble in criminology. I always wonder though what had happened. I wanted to be in the FBI. That was my goal when I was in high school. My dad was a cop. He was a narcotics agent undercover. He was military police after he went back into the military. So I'd always wanted to be in the FBI. And
Through Papa.
It interests me still, but there never would have been the kind of passion for that I have for theater.
Right.
It is interesting. It just seems, knowing you and how you are, it would be so far away from something you would go after, I would think. But it is definitely an interesting thing.
I can totally see you starring in a show there's a drug ring going on in a musical theater company, and you have to infiltrate. And so you infiltrate the musical theater company to make the bust. John Peterson stars as.
I actually
Is it a
used to.
musical?
Oh, absolutely.
It has to be. It has to be. I actually have had those little stories in my mind before.
Really?
Where I had to practice to be in a show that I was undercover. Well, so Charlie's Angels, the TV show back in the 70s, was one of my favorite shows, and there was an episode similar to that. It wasn't a musical episode, but they had to go kind of like a Miss Congeniality kind of thing with Sandra Bullock, where they had to go undercover and perform something. I don't know. It's kind of a weird.
It can still happen.
That's how you get it.
All right, we've gotten way off track here, ladies and gentlemen.
Mission accomplished. Question
That's what
number
we do,
1,
right?
and we're off and running.
We are off and running. So, Mr. Showerman.
Yes, sir.
Tell us why theater and musicals are a unique audience experience.
Well, theater in general is unique because it's a two-way street. It's a conversation. I think the audience forgets that they're part of the show, and so therefore what they do matters, and therefore I think that keeps you engaged more as an audience member, even though you're not maybe having that self-consciousness of being a part of the show. Musicals in particular matter because it's a form. Music in general is a form that literally moves you. I mean, vibrations, where the sound vibrations touch us in a different way, and especially if those sounds are anchored in memories. So we have memories of where these songs come from, and it takes you back in the way that a scent can take you back. There's certain sensory experiences that you just need a little a little shorthand of it, and it brings back the whole experience. So you hear Singing in the Rain, and you suddenly experience the whole movie. You experience Gene Kelly splashing around, and it's just magical. And it's kind of what we do with the show is sort of a shorthand. We do a little bit, and you experience the whole movie.
It's so true. You said something that kind of put something in my mind, and maybe I can use an analogy for our viewers that maybe aren't musical theater goers, like they've never gone to see a musical. So imagine you're watching a movie like Halloween. Just pick a scary movie for lack of, it's the first genre that came to mind. And you're sitting there, take away everything except for people's voices. So if you're, for example, if the camera's shooting down an empty hospital corridor, not necessarily a scary thing. Right. But you get that creepy music underscoring, and it touches something in you. And it's going to evoke feelings, the tension, the dissonance in the chords, in the music. It's going to evoke some type of fear or skepticism or something like that. And it's the same on stage. Music, it affects you, be it a familiar tune or a particular type music with major chords, tends to be a little happier. Minor chords might indicate some type of sadness. Right. Whether or not there are words sung to it, in a play, if there's underscoring in a play that comes in, it can really set a tone. Totally. So you brought up a good point there.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, they did a. I don't know if you've ever seen those on YouTube. They do these fake trailers. Somebody cut a fake trailer of what do you want to build a snowman? What's that? Frozen. Frozen. Mm-hmm. They did a fake trailer for Frozen, but they did the trailer as if Frozen was a horror movie. And
I've seen that.
It's genius, and it's just everything is the same except they changed the music, and it's so effective. You're like, oh, this is going to be the scariest movie I've ever seen, and it's Frozen.
It's a cool thing. There's an artist out there, I forget his name, I found him on YouTube, but he takes a lot of popular songs and some theater songs, and he changes the keys from major to a minor key, giving it that I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but he did everything from like the national anthem to I Dreamed a Dream from Les Miserables, and changed them to minor keys, and it gives it a whole different. Right Here Waiting by Richard Marx. In a minor key, it gives a whole different feel and sentiment. So, and then
even the lyrics are scary for that. Right here waiting, right here waiting
for you. So let's kind of take a more direct route. We've been talking about theater and musicals. Let's talk about MGM and concert specifically now. Okay. So Christy, you're the only one in this room that was there when MGM and Concert was created.
Yes.
I came shortly after, not too far into the show. But tell us about the creation.
The creation
of MGM and Concert.
Out of my father's head. Yes, he created a lot back then. As I was growing up, many different musical concerts, different musical themes, and this was one that really stuck and was very popular, and we ended up doing that. I was very young when I did it the first time. In fact, I think it was before I met you. I went to California after and left, and that's when he got another girl to keep doing it with him, another female singer. Mm-hmm. And then I brought you back to it. That's what happened. I brought you back. So I was very young. I was like fresh out of high school when we first did it, and the audiences went crazy. Condominium circuit, guaranteed wonderful audiences, beautiful theaters. We were doing 16 to 20 shows a month. It was fantastic.
Wow, that's a lot.
Oh, yeah, because that was the time. Everybody came to see live stuff, and it was wonderful. And then we stopped. Well, he continued to do it there. Not as popular without me. No, just kidding. Of course not. Yeah, right. But I did meet you and went through the whole experience here in LA with you. And then when we were finished, I was finished here and wanted to go back. I said, come on back with me. Be my roommate. Meet my dad. Learn something really fun. Let's do this together. And we started doing it together. And same thing, then we brought it here.
This show's just going
Yeah.
coast to coast.
But
So-
he's always had a knack, my dad, for putting medley type shows together. It works beautiful. It just one word ends, another word picks up another song. It's just in him. It's in his head. He always saw the world as a musical. So this stuff was constantly flowing with him. And when he had a daughter who could sing, that's when he started to get those ideas out on page, onto the stage, and really just.
So
it's a
he's
wonderful
not
work.
very technically musically inclined as far as knowing how to piece together musically, because you can take lyrics and stories and build them, but the melodies don't always match.
Right.
Was your now husband David involved in that creation musically? Or did he
Heavily
have-
involved.
So David was
because
involved.
I met David when I was 13 years old. So MGM hadn't been out there yet. He was with us from the very beginning. But many other piano players, along with David, worked with him. And the funny thing, they always said when he brought this information to them the way he wanted it, this can't be done. That was always the first thing to come out of their mouth. This can't be done. No. This is ridiculous. This doesn't go with, just like what you were saying. It doesn't, and it always could be done. And not only could it be done, but it just went so smoothly.
So well.
So he had a little bit of knowledge with music, though. He
Oh,
does,
sure.
he-
Yeah, I
he
didn't
had-
mean to
he
say
had-
that he doesn't
No,
know
I
music, but
he had enough to convey, because he
Sure.
would just come strong right back at him. Yes, it can. And in his young self, oh my gosh, they would just look in amazement and they would go for it and they would get excited with him, and then creation would begin.
Yeah.
And it was you remember, it was like crazy for you when you first joined. You're like, I've never done anything like this. This is wild.
no, I've never.
Usually it's a whole song.
Yeah.
Little talk on to the next song, but that was always in his brain, and I'm glad he gave it out there, because many successful shows, even the Doris Day show that you've done in the past, was, even though
The
it's a book
award-winning
show,
Doris Day
the
show we've done in the
award-winning Doris,
past.
yes, it's still that format in a sense.
Yeah.
That's his style.
So, Christy, how many of those shows did he do? Like, I'm only familiar with MGM and Doris Day, but
So many. There's another one that I want John to do that is my favorite out of the group, even though I love and adore MGM. There's another one he put together called 10 Feet Off the Ground.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's just about telling stories of life through music. And it still works that same way. And it's actually 4 actors and the same choreography, same concept. And then, of course, the Doris Day show.
Right.
But several on different, he had one on writers, songwriters. There was one on Judy Garland.
Really?
There was all these different ones through the years.
Oh,
and we
how much
just
fun.
pop into them and get people to. Yeah, the Doris Day show itself started as a revue rather than a book show. It was myself, another singer, and my dad. It was just like MGM.
was this
And-
back in the 90s as well?
Yes.
Wow.
And then he grows on that concept and he creates and.
He's really a genius.
Yes, and
Yeah.
I've been so
There's
lucky
no other
to
word
have that.
than
Right.
genius for
Education from him.
what he knows, and just his education on gosh, styles and different eras of musicals
Oh, yes.
and the stars and then how he can take all of that knowledge and create a story out of it, an entire show, the Day After Day, the life and music of Doris Day. It's the whole
Yes.
story, but it's just it really. He does what other people would, like you said, they would say, that can't be done.
That can't be done.
And the only person in the world I know that's more stubborn than you is your dad.
It's my dad.
So don't tell him that something can't be done, because
That's right.
he will prove
Fuel
you
to
wrong.
the fire.
done.
He will prove you wrong.
And it will be done
And I mean
well.
that in a loving
No,
fashion, of course.
Yes, absolutely.
So, Chris, this style of show, or like a review show, is not necessarily new to you, because you've performed with other companies like Colorful Songs Review with Carol.
Right.
So this would be a good question for you, because I know what Christy will answer to this. And so, why do you think the Metro Goldwyn Mayer MGM, that's why they shortened
exactly.
it just for me. The MGM musical productions are still popular, like the old movies and musicals of that era. Why do you think they're still so popular, and why they're popular not only among the older generation, but younger generations as well?
I think that the themes of those songs and those shows are timeless. So I think that no matter how complicated our lives get in the modern day, we can still relate to the core and primal energies and thoughts that went into those original songs and music in the first place. So, and then definitely, if you have experience with the MGM shows, if you've seen the shows, or maybe you went on your first date with your first boyfriend or girlfriend to an MGM show, then hearing that one song will bring back not just the meaning of the movie, but that whole night and everything you did and had ice cream afterwards and your first kiss. It's just such great memories that get tied to this entertainment.
For sure. And a lot of the material, too, has been done outside of their musical capacity. Songs like Smoke Gets in Your Eyes. That was done by the Platters, as well as being from a musical called Roberta. You've got Ladies a Tramp. How many dozens and dozens of artists have recorded that song?
Right.
So, yeah, that's amazing. So, Christy.
The way he said it.
I know.
Why is MGM in Concert such a fan favorite? Why do people love the show? People who've seen it. Why would you think that we get such good reviews and always have
Yes.
on this show?
Well, the show we've established is wonderful, but it's the actors in it, the singers and performers in it. We put our whole hearts into it. We feed off the audience, and they know that, especially if they've come back more than once. And they're looking forward to see how we're going to put little extra things in there that will be prompted to do by their reactions to us. This one climbing out on the ledge of the thing, going in the audience and playing with the people, and it's just it's the same show, but it's not the same show.
Never the same show twice.
It's right.
Right.
It's never the same show. You're going to see that.
It's once in a lifetime.
Right.
Even if it's the same three performers singing the same music, it's going to be a different experience every single time.
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
Especially if you fall off the ledge next time you go out
Right,
on it.
exactly. There's a reason to come to the show.
Something to come to the show.
Job opening.
Right.
So let's ask the new kid on the block.
Yes.
What's your favorite part of MGM in Concert?
God, that's a tough one because I have so many favorites. I really like That Man of Mine when we do drags. It's one of my favorites.
No spoiler alerts.
That's right. That's right. So I like that. What else do I like? I like all of our group numbers. You know what? It's just music, but it's really fun because it's fast repartee. Is I Wish I Were in Love Again.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
Yes. Swapping lines.
Swapping lines. It's like,
Swapping
wait, is this my line? No, that's your line. No, it's my line. Yeah. You got to be on your toes the whole time.
Always. It moves so fast. You don't have a chance.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be on your toes. You can't stop and think about it. You just have to be in that moment.
Right.
What about you, Christy? What's your favorite part of the show?
Well, I had this question earlier in my solo interview, and I kind of said the same thing you did. I like the group numbers.
Yeah.
I do, because I feel that energy when we're all together, sort of doing the same movement
right.
and lifting our energies up with each other, and we're all in this together, and the voices blending, and I really love all that stuff. So I love Don't Bring a Town to Old Broadway, when we're waving the hands and running up, and when we get it right. It's the best.
That's always a great part.
Like every third or fourth time we'll get it right. It's great.
You know?
It's funny. I also had the same question in my solo interview, and I had similar answers. Nothing was a solo moment. It was. I love the love duets with you because I've known you for so long, and we really just have a great time with it. And just there's a genuine. Maybe it's not a romantic love, but there's a genuine love for each other. And then the fun moments we get to have, Chris, we have a blast. And,
Brush up your Shakespeare.
that was the song I picked.
Was it?
Yes,
Yeah, great.
yes. So it's like we get to be quirky and silly and funny, but I do have. If I had to pick a solo moment in the show, it would definitely have to be You're Somewhere Over the Rainbow, Because I think
you said that.
The
She
only
said that.
the only person who may have done it better than you might have been Judy Garland.
Oh my gosh.
She may have been better, but that song is always. I've been listening to you sing that song for 27 years,
You have, yes.
and I love every single moment of it. And I also love
Thank you.
when your dad was in the show with us, how he would watch you sing that with such love, a father's love in his eyes, was such an amazing moment.
You're not the first person to tell me that, and I appreciate that you do tell me that, because he won't tell me that's happening, and I never would know.
Yeah.
And I've had people say, "Oh, one of my favorite things is watching your father on the side give you that, he's just looking so proud."
Yeah.
And I feel that now from you telling me.
Yeah.
That's a little gift you gave me. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. So Chris, as we haven't mentioned yet, but Chris is new to MGM in concert.
Brand new.
He's
Just
got
pulled
one
the
show
shrink
under
wrap
his
off.
belt, which was an amazing performance.
Thank you.
Never guessed it was the first.
And one of the coolest moments of that, you said you never got to see your dad watch you like that. He was usually behind you for one, and
Yeah.
you're performing, but Tony was in the front row. And there were a lot of times I looked down there to watch his reaction. It's like, what does Tony think of the show? Because like you, I was on stage with him, so we don't know.
You don't see how he
And
reacts.
his face was beaming the entire time. He was so proud of us, the three of us. And I hope that he was as proud of this show as we are.
Yes, he
I
absolutely was.
I think he I
raved
felt that.
the whole way home.
Did he?
Raved.
Oh, I love that.
And he couldn't have been happier with Chris.
Well,
He was
Tony came out to the show with me. We carpooled out, so we got to talk a lot about it. And he was so excited going in. He said, I've been doing this show for 30 years. I've never seen it before.
Yes.
That was the first time.
And it was surreal for us, the three of us. I mean, it was your first time up in front of the big audience with this show, and us having a new actor on stage, and to have the person who put us on the stage watching us, and
It was
it was just
a very meta experience
everything was right,
all the way
but it was
around.
wrong about that day. It was just
Yes.
it was great. It was fantastic. Okay, let's see. Moving along. I'll ask both of you, and you can take the question as you will.
Great.
What do you want the audience to get out of MGM in concert?
I want them to be laughing when they leave the theater. I want them to be buoyed by this. The emotions that we have, I want to give to them, so they float out of the theater, singing those songs and feeling that excitement and the joy for the music that we have. That's what I want them to have.
Awesome. How about you?
Yeah. Same kind of thing, basically. A lot of people come in there with a lot of baggage from life.
As do we.
Yes,
on the
as
stage.
do we.
It's
Absolutely.
an escape for us
You
as
can't
well.
help
Right,
it. Life
right.
is life.
Life is life.
But I want them to leave in a much better mood, willing to give that smile to the next person they see, released of some of that anxiety and stress, and just have a better day from what they experienced. Just feed them with some energy and love.
I love that. And
Yeah.
you picked my new favorite word, is buoyed. I've never used that.
Oh.
It's like floating. Like,
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
love that.
I might have stole that from you, from your solo interview. You might have said that. You might have said
I
that.
I don't know what I said. It was a whirlwind.
So why must the theater community and music lovers come to see MGM in concert? Why should people come see our show? What do you think?
Because there's nothing else like it.
Yeah.
You know? If you get the opportunity, that's might be your only opportunity. You've got to come see it.
For sure. And I think even if you're not familiar with the MGM music,
Yeah.
I mean, particularly the newer generations may not know or they don't write stuff like this anymore. This type of music.
All the more reason to come, because this is like the sampler platter of the music of MGM. You're getting little pizza rolls of each one, just little bite-sized pieces of each song, so you get the sense of the music. But like we said, there's over 70 songs represented in this show. So
That's cool that you said that, because I actually had someone that had seen the MGM show more than once.
yes,
And they said since they saw it the first time, they've been now exploring the actual films for each of them.
love
I'm
it.
going to see this because I heard that and I really wanted to see where that came from. So that is
perfect.
exactly, this is a great thing to see if you have any interest in that world and that MGM style and stuff, because you get a little platter full of everything.
It's like
I
the
love that you
highlights
said that.
of.
Yes,
Yeah, it's a
the
highlights
highlights
reel.
of,
Perfect,
to get you
yes.
started on that journey. Yeah, I love it.
I think it was your dad that once said, even if there's a song or two in the show that you don't like, it moves so quickly that by the time you realize you're hearing something you don't like, it's over, and you've moved on to something you probably do like.
Yes.
And I think another big reason that people should come see this show, this production, is because it's got us in it. And if you can't tell from this interview, we're adorable people.
We love each
We
other.
love each other very
We do.
much.
Yes,
Yes.
we do.
And we have an amazing time up on that stage, and we all could find a reason to leave our baggage at the door for 90 minutes.
Just come have fun
Right.
with us.
Escape.
Come
Have
play.
fun.
Come play with us.
Come play with us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Love
Absolutely.
it. Love that.
I guess this would be a question for myself. We'll start with me on this
should
one.
I read it to you?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay,
there we
we'll
go.
Point
Number
out
one,
which
number
one.
11.
Number 11.
Number 11. Let's
And finally, will we see more MGM in concert events? And can MGM in concert be booked for special events and not only in the theater spaces?
Why, yes. On both accounts.
I'm pleased to hear that.
So now that we have our wonderful new friend Christopher Showerman on board with us, we have the ability to take this show not just to local theaters here in LA and Orange counties, but we are currently looking at actively getting it booked outside of Southern California, out into Palm Springs, possibly into maybe Vegas. We're looking at cruise lines. So we're exploring a lot of different options to bring this show around, because we feel not just one demographic needs to see the show. We need to spread this joy. And not only is it available to come see at the different locations where we are putting it up, but we are available for hire. We can be bought.
Nice.
And this
Birthday
show
parties.
fits in any
Birthday
venue.
parties.
Gender reveal parties.
Gender reveal wait,
Gender reveal parties.
gender changing parties. I mean,
Right.
Do
we're in the
everything
2020s here.
Triplets.
Corporate parties, corporate events.
In someone's home.
Someone's home. This show,
Yeah, we can.
I've mentioned before, we could do the show on a postage stamp if we had to.
Yes.
Right.
We've done it in 2,000-seat theaters. We've done it in small, tiny little clubhouses, meeting rooms, really even.
Yeah.
Wow.
We don't require big dressing rooms and fancy
Well,
lighting.
I require a big dressing
He does. He
room,
gets
Yes.
his own room.
And green
He gets-
M&Ms only.
but- all green
Green
M&Ms.
So it's there's not one setting necessarily that's better than another. I mean, if you want a more theatrical experience, with the lighting and all of that, then you would want to go into a fancy theater. But this show stands on the music and the talent.
Right.
I think you don't need
Yes.
bells and whistles, and that's how it was put
personalities.
together. Yeah.
Yep.
So and the way you can book us. If either get tickets or book the show as a private event would be to visit our website at P3 Theater. That's www.p3theater.biz. Again, P3 THEATRE.biz. I've been saying it like that for 5 years now, and I love it.
You got it down.
But that's how you can find out about where to get tickets for our next performances, or to contact us and book our show.
Yes.
Awesome. Let's see. Do we have anything else on our little
Do you have a
card?
little goodbye thing?
Let's
or no?
see.
What's on the
There is a goodbye. Oh, Stage Explorations. Thank you, Stage Explorations, for hosting this interview. That's it for the questions that have been put forth for us to let everybody know a little bit about us and our show. Do you guys have anything else you want to add?
How did you? This is like for my own curiosity.
Yeah.
Because you obviously were born into it, and you and your dad have been doing this show with various different people throughout the years, and then you joined pretty early on.
Mm-hmm.
How did you become the producer? How did you?
Well, that kind of, so there was a period of time where we didn't do MGM in concert because we were living on different coasts. Christy and I moved out to Florida with her to do the show, and we did it for many, many years. Then I moved to New York. to pursue the Broadway dream, and ended up waiting tables in Times Square. That was my pursuit.
Hey, at least you were in Times Square. You made it.
Exactly. I made it. And I sat on stage to watch the show Xanadu. So I have been on Broadway.
Oh.
But I watched the show. I wasn't in the show. Then I moved to Texas. Then I moved back to California in 2010. Found out that my dear friend Christy, who we just kind of lost touch because we had our own lives, that she was back out here, and not only was she out here, but she brought her dad with her. And that was in 2010, and then Christy approached me a couple years later to revive MGM in concert as it was like a fundraiser for your church, wasn't it?
Did I do that? I
You-
thought you had approached me.
No,
See,
you
the years fly.
you reached out to me, and so that got my juices
Right.
flowing.
I wanted you to come to this church and do a small. Okay, so now I see. I'm on the
It's
same
all
page.
coming back.
And then a few years after that, 2018, I started P3 Theater Company and thought, well, I'm now a producer, so why not produce MGM in concert? So we've done maybe 6 or 7 performances of it in the last handful of years, and now we're breathing new life into the production.
Yes.
Picking
And
up
it's,
momentum.
so now we all feel, Christy, Tony, and I, that this show needs to live on, and generations beyond ours need to be introduced to this music and this style of performance. Really, with all of the rock musicals and jukebox musicals that are coming out these days, we want to keep a little bit of tradition going on and let people know, hey, this classic music and style of cabaret revue performance is still out there, and it's still charming and delightful.
Yeah, it's still
Yeah.
Thank you for
Yeah.
keeping the flame alive.
Absolutely, and who knows who will take it from us in 20,
We'll be
30,
in the
40
audience.
years. We'll
That's
be in the
right.
audience watching.
Beaming
Exactly.
and watching.
Absolutely.
Generation.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to wrap it up for today. So from the MGM in concert, it says team, but I'm going to say family, because we're really one
Yes.
wonderfully dysfunctional, fun family. No, actually, there's not really any dysfunction.
No, we're
Not
a
yet.
functional
Give
family.
it time. We're a functional.
wonderful, fun way.
Imagine that, yeah, and that's wholesome, like the MGM. Like the
Yes.
MGM movies.
Yes.
It's
Right?
very functional. So we're from the functional MGM in concert family. Mark your calendars. We've got performances coming up later this year. Again, visit www.p3theater.biz to find out the dates and where to get tickets for those. And we will see you at the theater. For more information on where to find MGM in concert or to book MGM in concert for a private event, make sure to visit our website at www.p3theater.biz. For more information on where to find MGM in concert or to book MGM in concert for a private event, make sure to visit our website at www.p3theater.biz.